All right. Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday evening. Yeah, so I'm here for some Q&A. Unfortunately, I couldn't do it Monday night. I was out of town at the in-laws at a nice cabin. So, anyways, I'm happy to be back to see everybody here. I figured I'd try something a little new for this Q&A, so I invited a friend on. I have Mr. Kenn Bosak. How you doing, man?
Hey, how goes it? Thanks for having me on, man. This is awesome. I appreciate you
Yeah.
hitting me up to be here today. So I'm interested to see what we can do.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you here. If those of you who don't know, Ken had me on his show a little. Wait, no, you were on my show,
Yes.
and I met you on another show on the 21 million show, right?
Yeah, that's actually how we met, which is crazy because I feel like that was like his first month into YouTube, and that's where we meet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we met on that show. You came on mine. I'm going to be seeing you on yours in a little bit. I can't remember what day that is, but we'll be blasting it on Twitter, I'm sure. And those of you who don't know Ken, check him out. He does have his own YouTube channel that you can check out. Is that in your lower third there, or did you put?
It's just my name, Ken Bosak, on YouTube. You find me that way.
Awesome. And you do some work for the bitcoinpodcast.com, is that right?
Yeah, I was writing for them for a while when they had a partnership with Cointelegraph. I was writing their longer descriptions, but since that partnership is no longer, right now I'm actually focused on my own podcast on their network called Not Another Bitcoin Podcast.
Awesome. That sounds great. All right, looks like we've already got a bunch of people watching. We've got people in the chat. Awesome. Yeah, anybody watching right now, feel free, blast this on Twitter, share it out on Facebook, wherever you can. Hopefully we'll get a good number of live viewers. Right off the bat, James Casey says, "Are you gay?"
I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. So I didn't go to college, so I don't know if I'll ever know.
Yeah, exactly. It's a time for experimentation. I am not. I have a pregnant wife, so she would be very.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thanks, man. It's coming up quick. 6 weeks. 6 weeks, and I'm a dad. Whoa.
Any day now,
So,
I'll be an uncle. My sister could go any day.
that's awesome. Congrats, man.
Thank you.
So everybody in the chat, just so you know, again, feel free to ask questions, whatever topics you like. I'm also going to be perusing through some of the questions that came up on my videos this past week, and pretty much any questions that come up, we'll just kind of bounce it back and forth between myself and Ken. Whoever's better suited to answer the question, we'll take it, or maybe we'll both take a stab at it. But yeah, we'll kind of go back and forth and see what happens. All right, Steve, college fund for Ben. Don't worry about it, you guys. It's all good. Okay, so let's get into it. Ken, I'm going to go through just a couple for my videos, and this will give the chance for people in the chat to start, tossing out some questions, and then maybe if you keep tabs on any of those that pop up, and I'll peek in there too. But
Oh yeah, I got the live feed for sure.
awesome. Okay, so. So a while back, I did a video on the Jax wallet, multi-currency wallet. You can go from Bitcoin to Ethereum to Dash to Litecoin to whatever you want. So you can switch back and forth, and it's using Shapeshift in the background to switch currencies. So I did a video a while back, and then just recently there's some controversy with their security. So somebody commented just today and said, Jax has a hidden feature. If you install it on your desktop, you can get all your coins stolen because the security is so crap. They know about it, but they aren't going to do anything because, in quotations, they are happy with their level of security. So I did see this pop up. So apparently they store somewhere on your desktop or somewhere on your computer a file containing your 12-word seed. So somebody would need to specifically target your computer, and then have access to your computer either directly or via a network connection for a certain amount of time to get a hold of this file. and then they would be able to steal your funds, which to me sounds super shitty and very scary. I did see also on Twitter somebody called out Charlie Shrem on it, who is now working for Jax, and he said basically, guys, I've only been here for 5 weeks. Give me some time. So I don't know what's going on with that. I'll be honest, Jax has not been super great for me using it. Like, I love the idea. I like the look of the interface, but it's just, I have problems with updating balances, and it's just always a bit of a shit show. I do hope they fix it along with the security hole, but I don't know. Ken, have you used Jax at all before?
I do. I actually do use Jax a lot. That is a big problem for me as well with the updating of the funds, the balance. I'll have a different balance on my browser than on my phone, and it could really mess me up when that happens. But otherwise, I mean, I like Jax. That vulnerability, I wouldn't say was Jax doing at all. It is a client-side software wallet, so you, the client, have all your private keys and everything on your side. So it's up to you to ensure your hardware security that is ensuring the software security that Jax provides. So if you're using a computer that has vulnerabilities, then your software is vulnerable. But I guess Jax, I don't know. It sucks because I really do like Jax, but yeah, the browser side, wallet hack really does put a damper on things. And the incorporation of Shapeshift hasn't been so great lately. I think they're even getting rid of the token, so I don't know what Jax is going to do.
Yeah, and so what confuses me is, okay, so if Jax Wallet stores your keys on your device, and if somebody has to hack your specific device, I mean, once somebody hacks your device, don't they have access to your wallet anyways? Like, technically, like, couldn't they just open up the wallet and send funds from it? Or am I not thinking through that correctly?
Yeah, that would be a different vulnerability, having like control over the touch in the background and everything. Yeah. Other than the vulnerability, they could pull some information from a stored file. That's a lot easier than taking full control over a phone or the desktop. Yeah. We got some questions popping up over here that I wanted to get to. Did you hear about that Ethereum crash on GDAX, the super crash?
Yeah, it dropped down to it was like
a penny.
A penny? Was it?
Yeah, dude, a penny.
Flash crash. Last time I saw like $13, and then I think I saw a few dollars. I saw shit popping up on Twitter all day. Yeah, I mean, what's it sitting? It's not bad now, right?
No, that was just a quick flash crash. Somebody manipulated the market for a minute, selling a crap ton of Ethereum for every buy order all the way down or whatever to a penny or something, and then wrote it back up on GDAX, which is insane.
Holy crap. So somebody was very happy to get some 1 cent ether. They're probably sitting pretty.
It's probably the same person who was selling their own stuff, putting in crazy orders too. It's crazy. Yeah. That stuff like that scares me, man.
Yeah, it's really, especially with such thin order books.
If you had margin, you're beat.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's sitting at 325 now, but I mean, that's still, like, it was up at 400 a week ago, something like that, week and a half. And that's kind of where it peaked, but still, it has been a little bit on the decline this week. I'm not sure, I mean, we'll probably see a bounce again because these ICOs are going to keep coming, and there's going to be a demand, and I think it's again, like, the ICOs are just driving the Ethereum market up and up and up.
Really good segue right now, though, to keep things going. CryptoBit just asked, or CryptoBit Brothers just asked, do you feel that the Ether ICO piggybacks are what's slowing down the Ethereum for the network for the past 2 days? And I'd have to say yes, of course, without a doubt.
Yeah, I 100% agree. It's 100%. People are just trying to get in. They're trying to buy up all the, all of these ICOs that are popping up. And even you had myetherwallet.com. They were on Twitter today, and they sound pissed.
They were begging people to stop their ICOs for a while, be respectful.
Yeah, they were like, we didn't start this to prop up ICOs. Like we're getting so many, they were getting all these requests of people that were like, I can't, like, I did a spend and I can't, it's not popping up on any trackers. Like, I don't know what to do. They got like, I saw, this was earlier in the day. They're like, we've already had 3,000 of these messages today. And we're sick of this, which is crazy. But yeah, it's for sure what's causing it. I definitely think so. Let's see here. So Steve Wilson says I should hang a Canadian flag in my videos. Canada Day is coming. It is around the corner. A couple of weeks here. Oh, not even. It's like 10 days away. And you've got Independence Day coming up, right?
Yeah, I know. It's one of my favorite movies to watch.
There we go. Awesome.
They made a sequel just for me.
Awesome.
Sorry, I'm reading some of these over here. So are you concerned about the government interfering with the crypto markets, closing exchanges, pumping and dumping, spooking markets, etc.? How do you feel about that?
Well, do you want to go first, and then I'll give my thoughts on that?
Sure. That's a double-edged sword then for me. I really am excited for government regulation to come in and just, have exchanges that will be held responsible for things. And then at the same time, no, because the pump and dumps and the manipulating and the spooking of the market, where if it is government, the government has oversight of these exchanges, they could be manipulated or strong-armed into FUD. Hey, we're going to remove this coin next month, and then the coin crashes. Government people buy it up and they remove the news and they say, hey, we'll keep the coin. It goes back up, whatever. All that could be possible. I mean, it's possible now. Poloniex does crazy stuff on their own, so at least we would know somebody's accountable, somebody we can point our finger at and yell at. I mean, it might not get us anywhere, but if there's some government regulation, at least we can grab a pitchfork and know who to head to.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing that government can do is regulate the on and off ramps, right? Like they can regulate the exchanges. They can't regulate the coins themselves. And I guess I shouldn't say a blanket statement like that, but they, like, as far as something like Bitcoin goes, where it's super decentralized and there's nodes all over the planet, they can't shut down the coin itself. That's impossible to do, but they can regulate the exchanges. I mean, it depends on how they regulate the exchanges. In some senses, I think it's not necessarily a bad thing when it comes to making sure that any exchanges that are holding funds actually, like any custodial exchange that is holding people's funds should be held accountable for proper security practices. But I would like to see a lot more non-custodial exchanges and ways to purchase, so that you don't need that kind of regulation. Because if it's a decentralized exchange where you're just kind of peer-to-peer but linked through software, then nobody's actually holding that Bitcoin. Like you could have maybe a service where you have an arbiter in the middle to check if there's a dispute. But if the exchange isn't holding any funds, then there's no reason to have to regulate them because they're not holding anything. So I'm hoping to see more of that. But again, it just depends on the country and how they're going to regulate it. Like you look at Japan, and they've just in April they said that Bitcoin will be what do they call it? Legal tender?
Yeah, recognized it legally as money.
Yeah, exactly. And now they've got a ton of extra exchanges popping up all through the year. That's great. Canada has been super friendly to Bitcoin.
India, I think, just said they're going to be legalizing Bitcoin as money, or recognizing it as legal tender or something as well.
They did. I just saw somebody say that in the chat as well, which is awesome. So yeah, like, I mean, I think it'll give some people trust in it, but I do hope to see more kind of decentralized exchange so that we don't have to worry about this kind of stuff. And honestly, down the road, things like exchanges are going to be obsolete. Like if everybody is using crypto, then all of a sudden you don't need on and off ramps from fiat currency, because if it's not being used, then who the hell needs an exchange? You can just use Shapeshift, or you can eventually there's going to be, and this is getting a little deep into the weeds here, but there's going to be cross-chain atomic swaps.
Litecoin's going to have it first.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. Well, they have to have another coin that also has SegWit enabled, but yeah, you're right. Like, as soon as there's a Lightning network, then you can start to play around with cross-chain atomic swaps, which for anybody watching that doesn't know, that means, let's say Kenn wants me to give him Litecoin and I only have Bitcoin. I could send Bitcoin to Kenn, and once it hits a node, it bounces off this node, and then Litecoin is sent directly to Kenn. So to me, it feels like I'm sending one transaction and Kenn is getting paid in the currency of his choice. And the way that works is, I think people would be running a node and they would load it up with whatever currency they like. And when my transaction goes through that node, it would convert it, and I would pay a small fee to that node operator, and then Kenn would get his currency. So you could have nodes like this all over the planet, and it incentivizes people to boot up their own nodes and make fees. So it just further decentralizes everything, which is fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, it sounds like the perfect future money to me. I mean, what if, whatever coin is being used over here, and you go visit Japan and they want to use whatever coin over there, you don't have to do any currency exchange. You just send them your coin, they get their coin, keep it moving. Or however, online payment processors that prefer Bitcoin, but you prefer sending Litecoin. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, exactly. I see just in the chat there, Steve Wilson said the Bank of Canada just announced they will not support Bitcoin, but they are looking into blockchain. But that's probably true. But what I was talking about when I said that Canada's been super friendly is the Canadian Senate actually had Andreas Antonopoulos come in and talk to them regarding regulation around Bitcoin. So he sat down, he talked to them for it was like an hour and something video that I watched. And it was fantastic. Like, they were super happy with them and super friendly, and they are taking a hands-off approach. Now, the Bank of Canada, that's essentially, that is not the Bank of Canada. It's not in any way related to our government. Again, it is a private entity, much like the Federal Reserve in the United States. So the Bank of Canada is appointed members, and when they appoint new ones, it's usually appointed by alumni. So yeah, of course, the Bank of Canada is likely not going to be excited about Bitcoin and are looking into blockchain because they want to run their own currency. That's what central banks do, right? So, I mean, Bank of Canada can do whatever the fuck they want. I don't much care. I'm going to use what I want to use.
It's funny because I'll have conversations like this with friends of mine, and they're like, well, aren't like giant miners technically like bankers, or like their own, like you say, you relate them to federal, like being your own Fed printing money. So like, I don't know, it would be cool to see, these organizations turn into that, like banks or the Federal Reserve or something just become giant mining operations that mine all the cryptocurrencies and use the transaction fees and the mining rewards as like government funds to use to fix potholes or to pay the agency within itself. I think that would be cool, like, pipe dream, but it'd be cool
to see them jump on board, but like super late. That'd be kind of
yeah, but I mean, like, imagine the possibilities, like Tesla teams up with blah blah blah, solar powered, self-sustaining mining machine in the desert that just mines, and I don't know, solar energy, and the government gets all the rewards, and I don't know, it'd be so cool. Because they can't really tax us. Like, what do you think about getting taxed and everything on this? Like, it's so weird. Like, they don't even know what to do. That there's no government like, hey, do this about your cryptocurrency taxes. There's nothing. So I don't really feel like I should do anything until there is something to do.
Yeah, it's a tough call because like tax wise, there's no clarity really right now, especially in Canada. There's not really anything laid out yet. And again, I'm working for a company called BitNational right now, and they do like Bitcoin ATMs, and so basically their stance is because they're a legitimate business, they're just like, we're going to pay as much tax as possible so that when regulation comes through, maybe they'll owe us back a bunch of money. So that's kind of what they're doing. But like, as far as like personal, like, there's no like right now, I think Canada has just taken a hands off. Like they're treating it as a currency currently, which I mean, when you trade in and out of other current, like if I were to buy British pounds and the British pound goes up and I come down and I change it back into Canadian dollars, I don't pay like a capital gains tax or anything on that. That's just me converting currency. So yeah, so I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens with that. I mean, it's going to be especially hard if like it looks like SegWit's going to happen. So it's going to be especially hard with when SegWit is in there and Lightning networks be able to be used. That anonymizes things much further, and that is much harder to track. So if you were to, I mean, if you're working for a company and that company has you on their payroll and they're paying taxes and they're filing and then they're saying that they're paying you, then that's trackable, right? But like for those that are working under the table or like peer-to-peer, then that, I mean, I feel like eventually governments are going to have to reconsider how they structure taxes. Like they're going to have to do like actual consumption tax, and like if you're driving, then they have something where you actually just pay a road tax. Like you know, it tracks your license plate depending on how much you drive, and you log your kilometers or whatever. But like they're gonna have to reconsider how taxes are done so that people are paying for what they're using, because right now income tax is going to be much more difficult to track in the coming decade, I think.
Agreed. I don't think I'm going to have to pay taxes soon. I don't think we're going to have to pay taxes. Like you said, I think they're just going to take it, or we're going to have to put money into something to get something out of it. Maybe there's like a blockchain for a gas station that you pay, you have to pay for the gas, but no matter what, you're also paying for that, admissions tax or whatever they're going to make up.
Yeah, exactly. Or a lot more like toll roads or something like that. Or when you get into the idea of micropayments, you could have a car that is stocked, like has Bitcoin in a wallet, and as it drives and passes a toll, it makes auto payments for, to pay for road upgrades and to pay for, like, if it's, depending on your car, and if it has a lot of if it's still I don't know, burning fuel, then, paying like a carbon tax, all that kind of shit. If it's not, then you don't have to pay as much tax. And I don't know, there's a lot you could do with it, but it's going to be interesting.
I think the only one you really get stuck paying for or for claiming your capital gains would be the Global Bitcoin Trust or something like that, right? That's on the stock market.
Yeah, you're right. I think when you pull into that, but yeah, because it's a trust and it's a fund put together. Yeah, holding the extra asset though, that's difficult to I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay, let's take a peek in the chat here. There's a lot.
Yeah, I was trying to work some of it in the conversation.
Yeah, let's see.
I have not seen the latest Cliff High report.
Yeah, I haven't seen that either.
Somebody sent me a screenshot of it. He mentioned BitConnect. Made me shake my head very hard. I got whiplash.
Did he? I haven't seen it yet. Let's see here. I'm just gonna pop over to some other questions that popped up in my videos. Okay, there's somebody asking about what Bitcoin wallet do you use for iPhone. So I don't have an iPhone. I used to. I actually got rid of my iPhone in that period where they didn't allow any Bitcoin wallets on the iPhone App Store.
I'm so happy I wasn't a part of that.
Yeah, that really pissed me off. And immediately I sold my iPhone and I went and got an Android, and now I haven't gone back. So
I got like 15 wallets on my iPhone.
Oh yeah. Now it's like there's so many that you can have, but yeah. So I don't know. Like I use Copay. The problem with that is I'm pretty disappointed with BitPay and how they aligned themselves with Bitmain. I'm not a big fan of Bitmain. Basically, the main miner that was holding up SegWit these past couple years, and nobody knew why. And so, anyways, yeah, I don't know. Like, I really like Copay. It is a good wallet, I've got to say. It's nice and simple to use. I can show it to, especially if I'm doing a tutorial for somebody, it's easy. But as far as other wallets for iPhone, like Mycelium is decent on iPhone, but it's so much better on Android. I've also heard that Bread Wallet is pretty good, but I find that it takes forever to load, like to sync. So I find that a pain in the ass. Yeah, I don't know. Those are kind of the only ones I've tried on iPhone. But are
Yeah,
you?
my favorites, the obvious. I use Coinbase a lot because I actually spend a lot of crypto with the Visa debit card that links to it, and then I use the Athena Bitcoin app a lot.
Athena, what's that?
Athena Bitcoin, it's pretty much like the company you work for. They're a Bitcoin ATM, and their app has a wallet built in.
Oh, awesome. That's cool.
They actually just started selling Litecoin at their Bitcoin ATMs so you can buy Litecoin with cash at the Bitcoin ATM. So
I did hear that because they run the machines themselves are called like Genesis ATMs, I believe, and they have enabled that, which is awesome. I think that's going to be interesting because we're going to see multiple coins popping up on ATMs soon.
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely.
Which for these ATM companies, that's fantastic because then they get more revenue from that. They have more people coming in for various coins. Maybe they're doing multiple transactions. Like, yeah, that's gonna be interesting to see.
Yeah, I did a video earlier on all of this. It was a great video with this thing here, but trying to get it from here to there has been a problem. But I was talking a lot about Litecoin today, so if you don't mind, I could get a little bit into it. Otherwise, I can skip it.
No, get into it. Yeah, for sure.
I'm excited for Litecoin. I don't know if you're excited for Litecoin. I'm not really any coin maximalist. I just like good technology. That's why I got into crypto. But Litecoin just broke their $2 billion market cap not too long ago. I think it was like 5 days ago or a week ago, something like that. Anyway, we're at like 2.5 billion already, creeping up on $3 billion market cap with Litecoin. The creator, Charlie Lee, Satoshi Light, just quit his job with Coinbase, so he's full focused on it. And then Bitstamp, who said, and they swore back when Charlie Lee asked in like 2013, they swore Litecoin would never hit their exchange. Now we have Bitstamp and Litecoin being buddy. Now the coin went from like $25 to like $50. And I don't know, I'm really excited about the Bitcoin ATMs selling Litecoin because that's just going to boost the adoption, which boosts the price, which in return, adoption. And I'm excited for Litecoin because for me, it's my cryptocurrency of choice. I spend crypto every day. It's just my main favorite money to use. I ditch fiat the day I get it, and I have to use Litecoin because when I swipe my Shift payment card, if I use Bitcoin, I get hit with the Bitcoin transaction fee and then the Shift fee. Otherwise, like the Litecoin fee is like pennies. So I don't know. I use Litecoin a lot, and I'm excited for their Lightning Network that's coming up. And like you said, the really fancy way of explaining the cross-blockchain communication. I always forget how to say it properly. And then they're even going to have the next step right after that, which they're already talking and working on, is the optional confidential transactions on the Lightning Network with Litecoin and all of that. So yeah, I love Litecoin, and all that news has been pretty recent.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear that's made possible because they got SegWit, right? Like that's what was holding up all of that progress. So now that they have that, that's amazing. And that's why I like, because Litecoin is essentially Bitcoin with a few change parameters. So they have a faster block time. So instead of blocks being every 10 minutes in Bitcoin, they're every 2.5. And because of that, they're going to have more coins. So they've got the same time horizon for how long it's going to take to mine everything. But they're going to have 84 million coins instead of 21 million. And the main reason I really like Litecoin is because stuff like this can happen where they can essentially be a bit of a test bed for things that could work with Bitcoin. Like we saw that SegWit was getting blocked on Litecoin. So what did they do? User activated soft fork. That was a huge threat. And then all of a sudden, all the miners caved, and we saw all of a sudden boom, they're all on board with SegWit, and it got activated.
Yes,
So
users won. Yep.
exactly. And so that's why I've really liked the user activated soft fork that has been pushed with Bitcoin, because up until that point, there wasn't really, nothing was really happening. And then all of a sudden it started to gain a little bit of steam. And I think some people realize this is a real thing that could happen. And even if it doesn't activate on day one, if it happens later, then that's going to be a big shit show reorganizing the blockchain, because we're going to have to go that route. And now look what's happening. We have everybody jumping, trying to get SegWit 2x locked in before August 1st. And it looks like it's going to happen. Like the acceptance of that, like the blocks are up over 80%, which is what they needed to activate it. So they're going to start signaling for that, like legit, in a couple weeks here. And yeah, I guess we'll see. But it looks like having that ultimatum forced it through. So Litecoin is what made that possible. Watching what they did in order to make SegWit possible, everybody realized this is a legitimate way to get things through if a small number of people standing in the way. And all of a sudden, here we are. And I'm stoked to see. I'm very interested to see what happens after SegWit gets activated, whether or not that 2 megabyte hard fork happens again a few months later, because that's going to be the next source of contention. But like, if SegWit's already activated, are a bunch of people going to jump back over to running Bitcoin Core and not do the hard fork because they feel it's unnecessary? I don't know. We'll see.
You know what's a great feature of Litecoin nobody really talks about, and it kind of just dawned on me as we were talking about it that we don't really mention. It has a lot of things like Bitcoin. One of the things that's a little different than Bitcoin that I think is going to mean a lot long term, especially with regulation and government, intervening. We know who created it. Like, we know who created Litecoin, and I think that's going to mean a lot later on. It might not mean much now. It's cool to know, but I think legally speaking, regulation speaking, that's going to mean a lot later on. I think they're going to have an easier job getting Litecoin and everything like that regulated than Bitcoin, where we don't know who created it, if they have, whatever. So it's cool.
I'm curious how that'll play out, because, yeah, like, I don't know, because where does Charlie Lee live? Is he in China?
Man, I don't know.
He
was working for Coinbase, so maybe he was in California for a while.
Yeah, I think he might have been in California for a little bit there. But anyways, yeah. So I'm curious. Like, I mean, at this point, the cat's out of the bag, right? The technology has been invented, so you can't really uninvent it. Had Satoshi just come out on day one and been like, I invented Bitcoin, it's currency without government, then he would have for sure been in jail. But now it's kind of too late to go that route, because how many thousands of other cryptocurrencies are there? So it's, yeah, like, I don't think that they'd be able to prosecute or do anything like that, because it's too late. But yeah, like, I don't know what will happen as far as regulation goes. Like I said, they can't really regulate the coins. They can only regulate exchanges. So yeah, we'll see.
Did you want to swing back and cover the first question we got?
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. So Chris Stevens said, hey, Ben, can you talk about the implications of the new ENS name reservations on the .eth domain for Ethereum? Do you think this is useful for individuals or just corporations? So those that don't know, and I am actually just kind of learning that from Kenn, because I wasn't up to date on this, but yeah, so you can buy like domain names on the Ethereum network. So Kenn, is this basically for like a website on the Ethereum network?
No, I believe it's more like a shortcut to an Ethereum address. So instead of giving somebody your address that's like super long and convoluted, or sending them a picture of like, the QR code thing, you would just say, hey, send me, and hopefully when we have cross-blockchain communication, this won't even matter. You'll just say, send me to this address and you'll get whatever. But, send me Ethereum to, KennBosak.eth, and I'll get it in my wallet. Or imagine if Starbucks or something to that effect, or a celebrity that wants to receive donation, or a charity. What if, you know, a Paul's and whatever, Adopt a Life or something, any foundation wants to receive it, donations, they could use their name.eth to receive the Ethereum or the Ether. And yeah, it's a shortcut for your address. So I think really maybe for individuals more than corporations right now, but we never know how smart contracts are going to work. So it may be easier to have, you know, kmart.eth or, you know, amazon.eth, because Kmart's probably not going to be around when this happens. Amazon's taking over. But anyway, so you'll have amazon.eth, and then in the smart contract, that's where the payments will go instead of to some real convoluted address. So it may work for corporations eventually, but right now I think it's for like people like you, people that are creating content that are like, hey, send me donations or something to that effect, where you can receive money easily. So charities, donations, social producers and content creators, stuff like that. But I don't think right now any company has a use for like an amazon.eth.
Yeah. Just an idea for people in the, I don't want to give anybody a like nefarious ideas, but I mean, if companies want to jump on this later, they're going to want their company name .eth.
Ooh, you know what? They have a really cool sort of protocol built in that keeps people from buying up and squatting on domains, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, check this out. Say you type into the, this is on myetherwallet.com. Yep, myetherwallet.com or Mew. But you can go into the ENS service there, the Ethereum name service, and you can type in amazon.eth, and it'll start a 17-day countdown, and everybody can see that this is now entered the domain. So it's on a public auction. And if Amazon wants, they could bid on you against you for this domain. So you'll be sitting there thinking you're going to get amazon.eth, and it's not going to happen, because if they want it, they're going to outbid you. And this is where I think it's really clever, because some people are like, yeah, but what if I outbid them and I own it and I try to sell it back to them? The logic would be they would have just outbid you originally. Why would they let you outbid them and then pay you more later? They would have just paid more at that time. So I think it's a really good like disincentive incentive program, like built in to the ENS to keep people from squatting, or at least jumping on things without making it fair for everybody.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, fair enough. Awesome. Okay, let's hop into maybe a couple other questions here. Maybe you, again, if you can peruse the chat, I'm just going to take a peek through some of the comments on my
we got a lot of questions about altcoins, if you wanted to touch on any. I'm not too familiar with IOTA or Ant shares, but I will say I added it to my portfolio for no reason. I haven't had a chance to look into a lot of things, but I do know when I see enough of it in certain chat groups and certain threads and certain Slack channels, I'm like, all right, I'll add it. But I haven't gotten into them. What are your thoughts on Ripple, the banker's coin? There we go. I like Ripple.
I mean, for me, I don't like Ripple just from a fundamental standpoint. Like in my head, Ripple is more, it's a tool for banks, right? Like for to save on their back end and everything like that.
And what turns people off is the supply. But did you know that when you use Ripple to send their transactions the way that they're doing it, it would burn the Ripple in a sense, taking it out of supply?
I did not know that.
I could be wrong. I looked into it. I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
Huh. That's crazy. Yeah. I don't know. Like I mean, I get kind of what they're trying to do, but I am not big into Ripple, mostly because to me it seems a little bit like the antithesis of what Bitcoin was built for. So like Bitcoin was essentially made to supplant the banks, whereas this is kind of like a tool for the banks, which is fine. But for me, I'm like, and it may go up like crazy. It probably will go up because banks are gonna want to use it. But Yeah, I don't know. Not for me, but like people can get
But
into
that's
it.
a political thing. That's why it's not for you, and that's why it's not for most people. Most
Yeah.
people are politically against Ripple, and I think that's going to hurt your profits. I don't have a political stance in real life, and I don't have one in crypto either. And I just live life how I think it will benefit me tomorrow. You know what I mean? Without interfering with anybody else. But Ripple, I think it's not supposed to be like Bitcoin at all. It is supposed to be centralized. It's supposed to be the supply is supposed to be manipulatable. None of this is a secret. It's all in the Ripple white paper that they're very like it's not like they're hiding anything about how their coin works. They're telling you it's centralized. We can control the supply at any time. And we're teamed up with 73 plus banks. Like they're not afraid to admit any of that because they're not trying to compete with Bitcoin. They're just trying to keep the banks alive, and that's why I invested in it. Because we all know that we're not going to let banks fail. So if banks are going to be putting money in this, in my opinion, it's probably safe betting because you're betting on somebody that isn't allowed to fail.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. Like, I think Ripple is going to exist for a while to come, strictly because if the banks are using it and this is kind of their fight to stay relevant, then they're going to use it and think of how much capital banks have, and so they're going to put money in it, and that's just how it is.
Yeah, you got to join. You got to join the future, man. Look at Western Union. Western Union's teaming up with Coinbase. That's pretty cool.
I saw that, and that's super interesting. Maybe they saw the writing on the wall, and they didn't want to become the next blockbuster. So I mean, good on them for trying to eke out a few more years. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I don't know. Should be interesting though.
I don't think it's going to work out for Western Union. I just think that's going to make it easier for people to get to Coinbase. I don't think that has any benefit for Western Union because they didn't say they were going to use blockchain technology. They're basically just letting Coinbase plug them into their platform like PayPal did. So it's just like, hey, send me some money from blah, blah, blah. You're still going to use Western Union, but instead of it going through, like you have to go somewhere to like a Western Union building or to like a Walmart or whatever that has Western Union built into it, you can just get it on your Coinbase app and then most likely take that fiat and buy crypto. So that's cool shit.
Yeah, I think it's a money saving method for Western Union. They may pass some of those savings onto users if they see competition popping up. But like off the bat, they won't. They'll keep their prices as high as they can, right? And then they'll only lower those prices as people realize there are alternatives. So I mean, this may keep them afloat longer than they would have had they not done it. But yeah, I don't think they're going to be around too much longer. We'll see what happens, though. I mean, I've been wrong before, but yeah, it's not looking good. Okay, somebody said, what do you think will be the worth of a Bitcoin in 2020? Ooh, that's a good question. 2020.
Can't answer that right now until August 15th or something. Like, let's get through this right now, and then we can talk about that.
Yeah, I'll have a better idea by the end of the year.
Ooh, I could do two analogies then. How about this? I'll ask you. Set it off. What do you think the price will be in 2020 if everything works out with SegWit 2x and we get the Lightning Network by then? And by 2020, what do you think it'll be? And what do you think it'll be if we don't? We keep fighting about the scaling.
So I saw somewhere year over year, on average, it's been like 300% or something like that, something ridiculous. Honestly, I'm more interested in 2021 because what we've seen so far is every time the number of issued Bitcoins get cut in half, every time we have a halving, within a year of that happening, we had these huge bumps in price. So we had a run up before the halving last year. We went up to $700 and something, but then it kind of came down and fizzled and just stayed there for a while. But then, like the year following the halving, we're still riding up and up and up. Like we've kind of briefly hit 3,000 for a little bit, and I mean, if SegWit goes through and we get scaling, then God knows what we can do for the end of the year. Like I made a video a few weeks back, and I was just kind of, I was basing it on what happened the last halving, how there were 2 bubbles the following year. And the second bubble was 5 times the size of the first one. So we had one that went to $200 and something, and then we had one that went to nearly $1,200. So based on that, like looking at what happened, and at the time when I made the video, it had gone to 2,700. Based on that, I said just over 13 grand at the end of the year, which I know sounds a little bit ridiculous, but crazier things have happened. I don't know if I necessarily believe that, but by all means, by like 2020 or 2021, I could easily see tens of thousands of dollars. And I know people are gonna think I'm full of shit. Like everybody always says, oh, that's bullshit, that'll never happen. But you look back a few years and the people were saying the same thing when it was $100 and somebody said it'll be 1,000 or 2,000. And then you saw people when it was $30 saying there's no way it'll be. There's some post the other day that I saw somebody with, they sold all their Bitcoin, they panic sold when it dropped to $30. I can't remember what year this was. And then somebody in the comments said, you're going to be kicking yourself when you find out you could have sold for 3,000 in like 4 years. And then sure enough, 4 years later, here we are, and we tapped 3,000. So like, as ridiculous as that comment seemed at the time, it turned out to be a pretty realistic time frame. So yeah, I don't know. It's I could easily see tens of thousands of dollars, but I could be wrong. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm with the tens of thousands, but that's pretty biased considering my portfolio.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a good question, actually. What do you think about all the price dropping this week? And where do you think it's coming from?
I think it's just the market being the market. Like there's ebbs and flows, right? Like it goes up and down. I think anybody that's getting panicky just needs to go to a chart and zoom out. Look at what's happened this year so far and look at the trends. Like we've had big drops. Like we've had, there was a high of 2,760 in Bitcoin and it dropped down to a low of like 1,850. That's like a $900 difference there. And that was in a course of 3 days that happened. That's insane. But then it gradually, like over the next few days, it started coming back up again, and then it went above it and went to 2,980, and then we dropped again to a low of 2,120. So again, that's like an $800-900 drop, right? So
I remember people were messaging me, "Is Bitcoin dead?" I was like, "Oh, not this again."
Yeah, right. Like, and people sell. They sell at these dips. There's no way. Are you kidding me?
And I'm buying it. I feel so guilty when that happens because I'm buying dips knowing people are selling. I'm just like, that's so dumb.
It's fucking crazy. Like, if there was ever a time to be bullish in Bitcoin, it's right now. Like, I know that we've had a lot of, like, where we had a 2-year bear market, right? But, I mean, it's clear that over time, it continues to grow and adoption is growing. There's more transactions. There's better technology. Look at all the wallets that are available now. Like I was saying, like Apple had banned Bitcoin wallets from their stores. You just said you had like 15 wallets on your phone. It's crazy. It's only going to continue to be more used. And it doesn't even matter if there's other cryptocurrencies because the entire space is growing so much. Yeah, Bitcoin might not be like 80 or 90% of the pie, but it doesn't matter when the fucking pie is worth trillions of dollars, right?
Good call, exactly.
Yeah,
it's funny you said like how like they changed their stance, and I got 15 wallets on my phone, and it wasn't that long ago iOS didn't allow Jax and Dash to be a team, and now I got Dash on my Jax on my iOS.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like everybody's realizing that people want to use this stuff, and everybody that's in it right now is very passionate about it. Especially like think of when you're just learning about Bitcoin and you get that moment where it clicks and you're like, "Oh, holy shit, now I get it." And there's people, and that's happening to them on a regular basis now. They're all of a sudden understanding the implications of the technology. And so you're just getting these waves of people going, oh my God, and having those light bulb moments. And there's more and more. It's going to keep growing because those people get excited and they're starting to explain it to others, and people are seeing, oh cool, like I can get wallets, and there's a lot more user-friendly stuff coming out. I love it. I think it's great. AJ just asked what happens on August 1st.
Yeah, I just messaged them in the chat. I was like, nothing now. We're good.
That's awesome. Okay, AJ, long and the short of it, we've been arguing in Bitcoin over how to scale the network for quite some time now. Just recently, like in the past few months, there's been something called the user activated soft fork, which is basically an ultimatum saying to the miners, get your shit together and activate this scaling method, or else we're going to fork the network into two potentially and ruin your profits. And at first people were freaked out, and now all of a sudden miners are getting their shit together very, very quickly to activate something called SegWit 2x, which will scale the network. And they're trying to activate it before August 1st. So honestly, it's looking like, regardless, before August 1st, we're going to get SegWit on Bitcoin. And then it will be a question of, are we going to also activate a 2 megabyte hard fork after the fact to enable further scaling, or are we going to go other routes? So we'll find out. We'll see what happens. But August 1st, honestly, I don't know. SegWit will be there.
I can't find who asked the question, but it was a good question. Here we go. David Parker asked you particularly, with the SegWit 2x agreement over 80%, why haven't the core developers changed their stance? I actually read the article about the 2x agreement and saw that it was over 80%. And stupidly assumed that they were on board, but I just found out that they're not. So did you know anything about that, or why they may not be on board with this?
Yes, because the way that SegWit 2x works is so it's a very weird roundabout way of doing things. So right now with regular SegWit, as it is waiting to be activated, you would need 95% of the miners to be signaling SegWit to get it through. That hasn't been happening. Okay, so we now have this New York agreement ever since this user activated soft fork thing has happened. And what it is, it's another set of software that will activate SegWit, but as soon as SegWit activates, it will start some sort of a countdown for a hard fork to 2 megabytes a few months down the road. Now, we haven't actually seen exactly a date for what's going to happen with that, so it remains to be seen. But so the core developers don't like this, mostly because it's untested and it's super rushed. Like, they spent a year and a bit just testing SegWit to make sure it was safe enough to deploy on the main network. But here's the thing that can happen is you can have people signal SegWit 2x so that SegWit activates. So I should explain how it activates. So if you're signaling for SegWit 2x, then what that does is, after it surpasses 80% approval, all of a sudden everybody's now in that 80% is going to ignore anyone who is not signaling for SegWit. So at that point, all of a sudden we have 100% approval for SegWit, and it gets activated. Okay, so it's kind of a weird way of activating it, but essentially we start ignoring everybody who's not signaling SegWit in their blocks. Okay, but what can be done if you don't necessarily agree with the software of SegWit 2x, but you want SegWit? You can signal for SegWit 2x and maybe run the software briefly for a few days. And then once it goes active, you can revert back to running Bitcoin Core. SegWit will still activate. And then whoever's still running Bitcoin Core is just going to stay with Bitcoin Core and not go forward with the 2 megabyte hard fork. So and from what I've seen on Twitter, people who are behind the user activated soft fork, that's a lot of what they're talking about. How, oh, we're not actually going to run SegWit 2x. We're just going to use it so that we can activate SegWit, and then they can, if they really want 2 megabytes, they can fork off themselves. So that's a little bit of what I've been seeing just in the circles that I've been reading about and chatting with. So yeah, anyways, I know that's a little convoluted, but yeah, cool.
Yeah. You know what it made me think of? The dude from Star Wars, where it's like, it's a trap.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, what else?
We have questions about hardware wallets and stuff like that. I personally rock the Ledger. How about yourself? I think you got the Trezor, right?
Yeah, so I've got a couple. My 2 favorites are the Trezor. That's the one that I actually have on my keychain. My other favorite is the Ledger Nano S. So that's a little flick out one with the screen on it. But I have a couple others. I have a Keep Key, and I have just a Ledger Nano, which is like just a little look. I think you've got it around your neck.
Dude, I love the Ledger Nano, and I'm about to buy like 10 for no reason. Well, I want to have not of these actually, but the Ledger Hardware 1. It's just a little chip thing that goes on your keyring. I want to get those so I could have different stashes of my crypto, like my Bitcoin on that, and instead of having it all on 1 or 2 wallets. Maybe I had like 10 wallets. I'm not worried about the different baskets. I'd be more worried about having like 1 or 2 baskets. So I'm getting a couple of those. They're really cheap.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a good idea to kind of mitigate your risk and spread it across multiple wallets. One hardware wallet is better than just using your phone and only storing crypto there, or using your computer. But if you're holding more money than you would feel comfortable just having in your wallet, like as cash, then then I recommend hardware wallets. They're a lot safer, and I think if you're storing a lot, then maybe more than one hardware wallet. That way, if something, let's say, because Ledger is not open source, so let's say there was something wrong with the Ledger.
I thought Ledger was open source.
Trezor is. Ledger is not, I believe, unless they've changed. I
thought they were though, because I remember. Yes, dude, I totally interviewed the CEO of the company. Yeah,
did you?
Yeah, I interviewed him. Yeah, Ledger's open source, and that's when I was like, I just said that I was during the interview. I was like, oh my god, it'd be so cool if Jax took advantage of your open source, and Jax made a wallet with Shapeshift built in for the Ledger Blue. So yeah, I'm pretty sure Ledger has open source technology now. So anybody who wants to make a wallet for the Ledger Blue can make a wallet for the Ledger Blue. Like if Doge is on there, but. Digibyte wants to be on there, or Coin, or whatever these coins want to be on the Ledger Blue. It's open source. So I had that interview on my channel. Totally said that. So yes.
That's great. I'm glad to hear that, because I think maybe before they weren't open source and a lot of people didn't like that, and maybe they changed their stance on that, because I remember people commenting on my old Ledger video saying it's not open source, so I don't trust it. So that's awesome to hear. Cool. Somebody also said, why not paper wallets? I have used paper wallets in the past.
I'll say why not, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
This is why I dislike paper wallets in this sense. You can only sweep the full amount off, and that would go through with 1 transaction fee or whatever, or depending on how you made the paper wallet. Somebody showed me how to get around the transaction fee or something. Anyway, you can't just pull off like 10 or 20 bucks of your cryptocurrency off of a paper wallet. You'd have to sweep the whole paper wallet and then make another paper wallet to deposit what you didn't want to actually sweep off. So for me, that's why. Yeah,
you technically, like, you can take less than the entire amount off, but then that negates the purpose of the paper wallet.
Yeah, exactly. The security has been over.
Yeah, because that private key has now been accessed on the internet. So, paper wallets I think are good for long-term storage if you're not going to be pulling money off of them. So before, what I used to do is I'd have, spread over like 3 different paper wallets, and I'd have them printed multiple times. Because I liked having them look like an actual banknote for some reason. Anyway, so I had 3 copies of each, and I would I used them as, need some water. Ken, get talking.
All right. The paper wallets though, somebody up here was saying they got a brain wallet. All right, brain wallet is cool. It's hella gangster, but if you have like the best memory in the world, you can do like in a Rubik's cube without looking. You're just bam, I did it. Maybe then I would say you could go ahead and trust yourself with a brain wallet. I wouldn't do it. I mean, I smoke a lot, so that's why. But still, don't make a brain wallet unless you're really good with remembering things. If you can remember your like childhood phone number or first address, maybe. I'm starting to get worried over there, Ben. You all right? That's awesome. But yeah, so a brain wallet is probably the most gangster version of a paper wallet ever. It just requires a lot of trust in yourself, and I don't have that. So that's my 2 cents.
I am so sorry.
No, man, it's fine. We were just talking about how gangster brain wallets are. Like anybody with a brain wallet's a G in my book.
That's awesome. Yeah, sorry, I just
never use a brain wallet in all caps 3 times in a row by Richie Rich. I'm pretty sure that solids my point. Don't do it. Just don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, brain wallets.
Brain wallets will get hacked. Ooh, do you know about that?
It's because if it's more so how you figure out your words, right? Like if you make up your phrase, it's only as secure as your random phrase, right? So yeah, they can be. I mean, it very much depends.
I feel like I would just go to like, bitaddress.org, make a paper, like, you know what I mean? And just use that thing. Like I would get it all offline and just use like a random private key or something. I don't know. Maybe that wouldn't work.
Yeah. Brett Harvey says that brain wallets can be hacked through machine learning.
Yeah, exactly. Like you were saying, through machine learning, but I don't know. That's so weird.
Yeah. Like I've definitely heard that brain wallets are a little less secure.
It just made me think of like Andreas Antonopoulos and Tone Bays playing like the cryptocurrency brain wallet imitation games. like I would love to see a movie where they're just cracking brain wallets.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, what you could do is if you had your 12-word seed, if you can memorize that, then yeah, like you can go anywhere with your wallet and not have to even carry a phone with you, and you can access those funds once you get to an internet-enabled device. So yeah, Richie Rich says there's a great YouTube video on hacking brain wallets. Yeah, if you send money to any brain wallet with 5 to 6 characters, it gets swiped instantly. Yeah, Richie Rich, if you have that video, pop it up in the chat there, or if you can find it, that'd be great. Brett Harvey just asked, Ken, do you invest in ICOs?
I have invested in one just to see what it was like to make a video on it and show people how the process goes and how to claim the tokens and stuff like that. I invested in Mobile Go token, the game credits ICO. So that was pretty fun. And I was looking into getting into I think it was the NVO or the NOV, something like that. It was a decentralized exchange ICO type deal. And I don't know, it was weird. I think a lot of people kept comparing it to like Bitstamp or something.
I saw
BitShares. I think it was BitShares, not Bitstamp. Whatever.
I did see the NVO, actually.
I was thinking about getting into it. I really liked the idea, and all I kept coming across was it's being compared to, I think it was BitShares, right?
Yeah, it was like what the hell is it called? BitSquare. So that's a decentralized exchange.
Thank you. It was somewhere in there.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a few things about that. Hold on. So I'm trying to recall exactly how it worked. So there were a few unknowns there. So the way it worked was you're buying, you know exactly how many tokens there were going to be. There are going to be 15 million. So you know that, but you don't know how much is going to be invested into the platform. So depending on how much you invest and how much other people invest, then you would get a certain percentage of the pie. Now, based on your percentage of the pie, you get payouts on transaction fees on the peer-to-peer platform. What you don't know is how much those fees are going to be. And also, since you don't know the percentage of people investing, you don't know what percentage of the payouts you're going to be getting. And it's kind of a double-edged sword here, because if a lot of people invest, that means potentially a lot of people are going to be using the platform, which is great. But because of that, if a lot of people are using the platform, that means you get a smaller percentage of the pie and a smaller percentage of the fees. If not a lot of people invest, you get a bigger piece of the pie, but then that potentially means nobody's using the platform and there's no fees to be had. So you're kind of hoping for a sweet spot in the middle. Yeah, I don't know. I was looking at it, trying to figure out kind of what the deal was, but it's tough. I don't know. And when you look at BitSquare, there's not a lot of people on there. I'm hoping that more people will start to use decentralized exchanges, but I think it's going to take a while.
Somebody was saying that BitShares is hiring professionals to raise their market cap to $1 trillion. I hope that's real, Brett. It says that they're going to be spending $1 billion to do it. That's gangster. I wonder how much money Dash has spent on marketing.
Oh yeah, and theirs is pulled from mining, isn't it, or something along those lines? Like it's allocated specifically for.
Yeah. It is set aside money for marketing. It's pretty ingenious, actually.
It's fun.
I think Amanda said she gave out like 20,000 people $20 worth of Dash, and now she's running another campaign. Like right now for $5 worth of Dash if you go retweet or something. So they're just giving money away right now.
Yeah, I find that interesting. I know a lot of people shit on Dash. I think everybody's like, you shouldn't advertise a currency. You should use it because it's useful. Yeah, but I guess we just haven't seen that yet. And I think from their perspective, to get the currency off the ground, it was a pretty genius idea. And I mean, obviously it's worked out well for them so far, because they're still at number 7, right? I
like that.
So yeah. It works. I don't really use it, but
I've never used Dash.
Yeah, whatever. If people want to use it, that's the beauty of this. If you hate Dash, don't use it. That's fine. If you love Dash, use it all the fucking time. It doesn't matter. Everybody's got their choice. That's the beauty of cryptocurrency and the whole economy that has been created.
If anything can speak of that in chart wise, it would be Doge.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's literally based on just a meme, right?
I love how people get into Doge and then they realize there's 1 trillion Doge, and I'm like, yeah, there's no cap. There could be 10 trillion more. Be careful.
Exactly. It's so funny, but whatever.
But that's the thing you're saying. People want it, they get it, and that's what brings value to it. So it doesn't matter what you or me or any individual think. It's up to the users that are going to bring the value to these coins.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, what's your opinion on altcoins versus blockchain projects?
Let's say that again.
What's your opinion on altcoins versus blockchain projects? Looking at it as an altcoin as opposed to looking at it like a blockchain project in the comparison. Bitcoin, storage of value, Ethereum, transfer of information, or storage of truth. Golem is the world computational power. Augur has RET for a digital reputation for their betting platform thing or whatever, the guessing platform. So things like that. Do you think altcoins versus blockchain projects?
So I think right now there's a lot going on in the space because everybody kind of wants to get in on it. I think that's going to become a little bit more focused, because you can't just have a blockchain running for everything. I feel like it's going to be consolidated a little bit once people realize like, oh, everybody needs to run a fucking node for this and everybody needs to run a node for this. I think you'll see things like, I don't know, products that have a very unique use case may continue to thrive, but I don't know, like to have, let's see, what do I have here? Things like Augur, I think, are interesting, and a pretty cool idea. Things like MadeSafe, when you're dealing with decentralized storage, that's pretty cool.
Yep.
I mean, if it has a unique use case that hasn't been covered and can't be done by something like Bitcoin or Ethereum, great. But I don't think there's going to be able to be like tens of thousands of projects, especially if like you're trying to have value in the token itself. That's going to be hard to do. And what actually needs a blockchain, right? Like you need to, what's the use case for it? Why is a blockchain more efficient, or what problem does it solve? So I don't know. Yeah, it's up in the air, but I think they'll have use cases, but
For sure. I there's a lot of projects I like. Like I like Swarm City. I think they had a really cool project. I like Golem's project. It makes me think of that the HBO show Silicon Valley with the Pied Piper program. Like Golem is basically Pied Piper. I love how that dawned on me in one episode I was watching. I was like, yo, world computational power. Like they're doing it.
Yeah.
And Steam. I like Steam it.
Yeah. Steam, and Steam's a good idea. Like, yeah, I whatever, like decentralized social networks. Great idea.
You say whatever you want. It won't get taken off the It could get taken off the user interface, but it's always going to be on their blockchain.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's see. Mike Costello says, "What are your thoughts on the Ethereum network collapse due to status ICO overload?" I think that's very interesting because it highlights the fact that every blockchain is going to have scaling issues and is going to have to figure out a way to deal with them. It's not just Bitcoin that's going to have this problem. I mean, kudos to Litecoin for jumping on it early. But yeah, Ethereum is going to have much more of a problem because they don't just have transaction data in their blocks. They have a lot of different information, and their blockchain is already, if I'm not mistaken, it's already much bigger than Bitcoin's blockchain, and it's growing exponentially. It's growing really fast, and with all these ICOs, it's crazy how fast it's growing. It's going to be pretty inaccessible for people to continue running nodes very shortly if it continues growing at this pace. So yeah, so Richie Rich said the Ethereum chain is growing by 1 gigabyte per day. I hope
that's exaggerated somehow, some way. That's insane. That's so scary because they have so many Ethereum.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's crazy.
Yeah, well, Ethereum is what I tell everybody. You know, if you're investing in Ethereum, you're investing on like a super inception, something Leonardo DiCaprio couldn't explain the inception upon the levels of risk you're taking putting your money into Ethereum. It's an experiment being built inside of an experiment that's taking place on top of an experiment that has more experiments being built like Jenga on top of it. So it's really, really, really risky. But in my eyes, I'm hoping the reward is met by the risk. So we'll see what happens. I don't use any money I can't live without, and I highly recommend everybody do the same.
Yeah, I mean, like anything, it's a risk. I mean, the thing with Ethereum is because it does more things than Bitcoin, because it's more open in that way, and you can program different things on top of it, it has more attack vectors. It has more vulnerabilities that may not even be evident yet. And then on top of this, you have people building projects on top of Ethereum that have their own vulnerabilities. And depending on how complex those projects are, they can compound the vulnerabilities in Ethereum itself if somebody is able to exploit both. So especially when you have people dropping hundreds of millions of dollars into these projects, it's crazy. That's a huge honeypot. You better hope you have the best code on the planet. And as we've seen, that's not always the case. Yeah, so I don't know.
That is a big honeypot. You're right.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got here. I'm gonna see if there's anything else on my videos too.
I'm looking through the chat room right now.
Okay.
Anybody have any questions? Go ahead and post them live.
Yeah. Pop them in here.
It's so weird when people want to compare one coin to another coin. I'm like, I know about the one, but I don't know about the other, so I can't say if Augur is like Vera or VEIR.
Oh, Veritasium?
Yeah, and IOTA. Do you know much about that? I know Microsoft or Google or somebody's like really behind that IOTA or IOTA.
Yeah, the IOTA, I don't know anything about it, but it surprised the shit out of me all of a sudden. Yeah. When it popped into the top 10 like overnight, I was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, I saw that, and when it dipped like 30%, I bought some. I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna take that and walk with it.
You've got much more of an appetite for risk than me, my friend.
Well, I'm blessed in the sense that I'm my only responsibility. It's just me in my own studio apartment. So like I have disposable income to the sense that I'm a hermit. I don't go out. I don't spend money. This is like the first thing I bought since I really got into crypto. You know, I don't really spend my money on anything. So when it comes to taking those risks, for me, I feel like I might have like a gambling addiction to a sense because like it's like scratch offs. Like I just buy altcoins like people buy scratch offs.
Stephen Bandy said, Ben, do those crypto art in the background have wallet addresses on them? The pictures behind me. They don't. No. You can try and scan them and take wallets or take Bitcoin from them, but you're not going to get anything. Sorry. I just like the pictures.
Brett wants to know if I think the moon landing was a hoax. Man, I don't want to go on the record either way on that. Like, because what if in like 5 years we find out the truth and now I'm on the record, you know, with my statement. So my official answer to that is I'm not sure.
Brett, you need to watch Penn and Teller's bullshit because it's fantastic.
I've seen some of that actually. Yeah. Random episodes at a friend's house, and it is an amazing show.
They did one on, I think, either on conspiracy theories. I think it was an episode on conspiracy theories, and one of the things they tapped on was the moon landing, and basically they went through every single argument of anybody who argues the moon landing, and they just destroyed them all. So, anyways, it's worth a watch. You might be able to still find it, like a torrent of it, or maybe on YouTube somebody uploaded it. But
do you know if they touched on the flat Earth subject? Because that is like my new favorite thing to like I don't have much room in my life for anything not crypto related right now. Like I'm constantly reading or watching or listening to everything crypto. But like when I need to zone out and just have a chuckle, dude, I go to like flat Earth stuff, and it's just so great.
Oh man, the flat Earth thing.
I love it. I freaking love it, bro. It's so perfect. Like I feel like if we could get those people with that energy into crypto, dude, it's gone. We're just full adoption. We're taking off.
Oh God, I know. It blows my mind sometimes. I'm not gonna go into it, but yeah, like I can't with the flat Earth thing. Like I don't know. I'm not gonna touch it. I'm not touching that. Brett Harvey asked, "Are you suggesting that they proved we went?" No, they tore apart all the arguments that proved we didn't go, is what they did. So anyways, yeah, I'm not arguing the moon landing on BTC sessions. I'm sorry. Okay, let's see. Oh God, we're starting to get like frozen water is flat.
I love it, dude. Yeah, see, exactly. Oh man, let's you mind if I do a little something? I hope you don't mind.
Go.
First person that comments their Litecoin address, I'll send you some Litecoin just for the fun of it.
Yeah,
I love Litecoin. Oh, I'm giving Litecoin away like every day on my channel, so
that's awesome.
That's a thing. Let's
Also, I'll
see.
start. I've been thinking that I'm gonna start putting like a random QR code somewhere in my video, like a private key with like, I don't know, 10 bucks or something on it.
Mm-hmm.
And just like, but on like a single frame of my video randomly somewhere, so that somebody like watching the video, if they just see like, if they can like perfectly time it, then they can get it.
Of course, Brett Harvey just won.
He was quick. That's awesome.
That is awesome. Are you kidding me? Yo, I did this last night, and I think this is a Coinbase problem. Brett,
Well,
send me an address that is not from Coinbase, because it's telling me that that's not a valid address.
fucking Coinbase.
Dude, it did this to me in my video last night when I wanted to give away some coin, and it wouldn't let me send any. And then I said, let's see if it'll let me send a whole Litecoin, and it did, and the world called my bluff, and I sent somebody a whole Litecoin. Oh, all right. So I think it's working. Let me double check. It's LHG last SVP. Brett Harvey, I'm sending it right now. 0.1 Litecoin headed your way, bro.
Awesome.
Cool. Yeah, so I'll be giving away 0.1 Litecoin like every day. I just got my first YouTube payout, so I'm going to be giving away whatever the heck that was, whatever. I don't know what the money is, but when it comes to me, I'm just going to buy some crypto and give it away to somebody.
That's awesome. I saw that you just passed 2,000 subs, right?
Yeah, dude, that's why I was giving away Litecoin the other day. I passed 2,000 subs, so I wanted to give back to all the people that gave to me. I've been pretty blessed with my 2K subscribers, not like YouTube payment wise, but a lot of donations, a lot of, flattering tips in Coinbase with nice notes and stuff like that. So I wanted to give back, and that's how I decided to do it. When I hit my 2K, I gave out 2 Litecoin, which is like $100, and I'm giving away 0.1 Litecoin like every day for however long I can afford to.
That's awesome. Sweet. Cool. And we've got a troll in there. Great.
Oh yeah, there was a troll. I kept reporting. It was entertainment, but way too far.
Oh man. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna try and wrap this in the next like 5 minutes or so here. Actually, Ken, what I'll do is, can you plug your shit so that people know where to find you?
Oh yeah, dude, that'd be awesome. I'm Kenn Bosak. I have a YouTube channel called Kenn Bosak. It's so far right now, it's just been solely dedicated to crypto, Bitcoin, and stuff. But it's not really just it's my channel for me, Kenn Bosak. So expect something random, but that's not Bitcoin. But I talk about Bitcoin. I speak with people in cryptocurrencies. I do how-to review tutorials. And on the BitcoinPodcast.com, I'm going to have my own podcast called Not Another Bitcoin Podcast, where ironically enough, it is another Bitcoin podcast. And I'm going to speak to people like Ben here. And I've already spoken to some people in the past that we're going to basically bootstrap into this and throw in as filler until I'm all caught up, and doing live interviews for the podcast. So the BitcoinPodcast.com, at Kenneth Bosak on Twitter. Hit me up on Instagram. I'm super active on Facebook. If you find me on Facebook and you want to chat with me, just send me a private message. We can talk. And YouTube, subscribe. Make sure that you have the notifications turned on, because I give away Litecoin in like every video.
Awesome. Sweet. Awesome. And yeah, for those of you in the chat, if you aren't following me on Twitter, that would be fantastic. I have it in my lower third there, but it's at BTC Benny. Now that I've got a good number of people watching me on YouTube, I try to get people sent over to my Twitter, so that if I'm doing a live stream like that, you'll be able to see and know when I'm doing it. Yeah, anyways, other than that, I think I'm going to wrap it up here, because I got to get moving and grooving. I'm actually, oddly enough, I think I'm being interviewed by the Huffington Post tomorrow. Weird.
Dude, that's epic. Shout me out.
Right?
Don't forget though, Ben, we have our interview, you and I, on the 2nd of next month, on I believe that's a Saturday or a Sunday, the 2nd of July. So yeah, everybody stay tuned for that. It'll be on my channel, where I'll be interviewing Ben here.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks. And yeah, if you guys liked me having Ken on, I think I'm gonna try and make this like a regular thing. Maybe invite some people on when I'm doing my Q&As. It's nice to have somebody to bounce back and forth with, and like then I can look at questions on the videos, and somebody can look in the chat. But yeah, Ken, I really enjoyed having you here. This made it a little bit more social for me. It was nice. So thanks for coming.
It's awesome to actually be here face to face, because like usually I'm in the chat box just like throwing words at you, like, see what I'm saying.
Well, that's awesome
to be here, man. Thank you for the opportunity, man. Have a day.
Yeah, awesome. And yeah, everybody in the chat, thank you for popping by. And yeah, feel free to thumbs up the video. If you're not subscribed, hit subscribe, and hit me up on Twitter at BTC Benny. I will see you guys next time for my Q&A next week. I'll usually do it on Monday night unless it's super impossible for me to do. But yeah, see you guys later. Thanks.